Why do I have such a hard time getting rid of stuff? I want to simplify my house. Maybe you even want to be a minimalist, or maybe not a minimalist, but just have less to manage. But why when I go to declutter is it so difficult to get rid of stuff? Well, I think today we can explain it with a coffee mug. It's gonna make a whole lot more sense, but we'll also talk about how we can move past it too, so you can get your house simplified once and for all. So there's a really interesting study done in the 80s to talk about this idea of the endowment effect. Basically, when we're endowed with something, when we gain possession of something, why is it that it becomes much harder to get rid of it? And so they did an interesting study. It was at Cornell University, and so they took mugs from the gift shop at Cornell. They sold in the gift shop for $6, and they had a group of people, and half of the people received the mug for free. So it was gifted to them. They now had this mug. The other half of the people did not receive the mug. So they asked each group a question. For those who had received the mug, they said, if you were gonna part with it, if you were gonna sell it, what would somebody have to give you for it? And what they said, remember, it sold for $6. I can go get a brand new one in the gift shop for $6. They said $5.25. That's how much value they placed on this. Then they asked the other group who had not received the mugs, they said, how much would you be willing to pay for this mug? Do you know what they said? $2.25. So we're talking about the exact same mug, but this group that already owned it valued it twice as much as the people who didn't own it yet. And what's so funny about this is Tom and I used to sell real estate. Listing appointments were the worst. When somebody wanted to sell their house and you're supposed to go meet with them to talk about listing it, what they're gonna sell it for, what they think it's worth, and we would come armed. We would have the data. This is what homes have sold for. This is the cost per square foot. This is what new houses cost to build. And we would lay it all out and we would say, okay, in our professional opinion, we think your house is worth $350,000. What would you like to list it for? And inevitably, 9 out of 10 times, what would they say? Well, we were thinking more like 400, right? When we own something, we put more value on it. And it has a name, it's the endowment effect. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of different theories behind it, and we don't have to know all of that. We just have to know that this exists. So when you go then to sit down and to declutter stuff in your house, no wonder it's hard to get rid of this stuff, because you're thinking that it's very valuable. It doesn't matter that it's been shoved in the back of a closet for 10 years. You pull it out and we naturally, human nature, we inflate the value of it. And so that's one main reason, the endowment effect. And there's two other reasons too. So I wanna first talk through the 3 reasons why we have a hard time parting with stuff. And then we'll talk about how we can flip the script so we can actually get rid of this stuff once for all. So another reason is sunk cost biased. Once we've put money into something, it's very difficult for us to acknowledge that it was a poor purchase, that maybe it's not worth as much as we thought. Especially, I see this a lot with clothing, especially if it's like name brand, that we buy something and it just doesn't fit like we had hoped. We thought it was gonna be great, look really good on us, be trendy, and we put it on and we're like, nah, I need to lose a couple pounds. Maybe if I take it in a little, I always have to adjust it. And so we end up with these things in our closet that we spent money on, and the only way we can, in our head, rectify it, that it makes sense, is to keep it and someday actually wear it. The problem is we know someday never comes. We're creatures of habit. We just throw on the stuff that fits. That's what we go to. But inevitably we go to simplify our closet and there's these clothes in there and we're like, oh, but I paid money for it, right? Sunk cost bias. It happens to all of us. You're not alone. The last thing is that we've been taught not to be wasteful and to value things that were other people's. So especially with sentimental items, we feel a responsibility to take care of things that have been passed down to us, that were someone else's, that the responsibility is being passed on to us to care for this item and to use it to remember that person. And so it feels very wasteful or irreverent if we get rid of something that was passed down to us, or that we see as some kind of heirloom or artifact or something that has value. It could be something from a souvenir from a trip that you took, something that you bought that was someone famous. I mean, it comes in many different forms, but at the root of it is this feeling of responsibility to either not be wasteful or to remember and honor the person whose it was before us. So we have these three different things, and I would propose too that it's further complicated by what's going on in our life and how much emotional energy we have to dedicate to this. So now that we've talked about all the problems and why it's so hard to get rid of everything, let's talk about how we can switch the questions that we're asking to make it much easier to part with these things. Okay, so the endowment effect. I have these coffee mugs. I think they're worth $5, but in all reality, they're only worth $2. So instead of asking, what is this worth? If I were to put it on Marketplace, what is it worth? We would switch the question and ask, what would I pay for it if I were to acquire it again? And what is so interesting about this question is that if I already have a cabinet full of coffee mugs, usually the answer is, well, I wouldn't pay anything for it because I don't need any more coffee mugs. And so the value can vary from $0, or you might be like the other students and be like, well, I would pay $2 for that. And this is helpful because now instead of looking at this like a $5.25 mug, I'm gonna look at it like a $2 mug. And that to me, it's easier to donate a $2 mug than it is a $5 mug. I don't know about you, like I'm very frugal, and it's easier for me to donate something that's worth $2. Or to be very honest and say, oh yeah, I wouldn't acquire it again, I wouldn't buy it again because I really do not need any more mugs. And that helps then to be like, I think I can just donate it, or I think I could put it on Marketplace for $1 or $2. Now again, does it make it perfectly easy and now every decision in my house is so much easier because I'm just gonna look at the real value and not my inflated mental? No, it still takes practice, but I think you'll find that as you do this a few times, it gets easier, especially if you're asking the right question. Now let's talk about sunk cost bias. So for most of this is about wasted money. It is painful for our brains to think about getting rid of something that we spent money on. It literally lights up the pain center in your brain. So if it feels wrong and hard for you to donate clothes that you paid money for and have never worn, it's literally painful. So you're not wrong. So again, with this one, what we're thinking about when we're thinking about donating or getting rid of the stuff we spent money on is we're thinking that we wasted money. And so what I want to encourage you with this is to ask yourself, what am I wasting? And if it's money, say, okay, so I'm worried about donating this because I don't want to be wasteful of money. But then to ask yourself, but what's actually the most important commodity to me right now? It might be money, but it might also be time, energy. I mean, I look at our kids, everyone's like, oh, kids, they grow up so fast. It goes so fast, doesn't it? In those first 5 years, I was like, these are the longest 5 years of my life. I don't know what people are talking about. But now that they're older, they're 6 through 11, I'm like, oh my goodness, slow down. And so right now, the commodity that I'm worried about wasting is time and energy with my kids. I don't want to be crabby with them because my house stresses me out, right? I want to be present with them. I want to have conversations with them. Like, they ask really good and fun questions right now. I want to spend time with them. I want to learn stuff with them. And so right now, for me, the commodity that I'm worried about wasting is time. So then when I come back over here, I'm like, okay, I have these clothes, I spent money on them, I'm not wearing them. I say, you know what? I want to cut my losses right now because I don't want to manage those things anymore. And I don't want to feel guilty every time I look in my closet. Another commodity is peace of mind. This clutter for many of us causes us to feel anxious, to feel a little bit on edge in our own homes. And so I look at it like, okay, well, I could waste money, but that's also costing me my peace of mind to keep that stuff. So which is worth more right now? Again, that's a decision you have to make for you. I can't make that for you. But for me, right now for this season of life, I'm voting time, energy, peace of mind over money. And so again, it's flipping that. And we have a printable that goes along with this, so I'll link to that down below, because I think it's one thing to like nod along with the video and be like, yeah, that makes sense, right? But then we get to the closet and we're like, what was it again? What am I supposed to be asking myself? So I have a printable that I'll link to down below. And then the last thing is sentimental stuff, artifacts, things that we feel that we need to preserve and archive and memorialize, most often for other people. And so what I would propose here, instead of holding up an item and saying, okay, this was my grandma's, should I keep it? Should I not keep it? I would step back from all of the stuff that was passed down from your grandma or your mom or your sibling or your late spouse. And I would say, okay, how do I want to honor this person? What was important to them? What do I remember about them? And to first ask ourselves that question and then say, okay, of all of this stuff that I have of theirs, what reminds me of that of them? What piece is really special? What was their most favorite piece? And I want to pick that out. So I want to pick out the pieces that I want to use to honor and remember them from the mass of stuff. I don't want to just go through each item. I want to pick out those special pieces that remind me of them. That feels so much better. And I do keep a few physical things. I've talked about my grandma's red tablecloth, and I love it because that specific item reminds me of my grandma. It reminds me of holidays at her house, and when I see it, it makes me happy. And so I think that's the perfect way for me to remember my grandma. I also have a framed picture of her that I really love. But beyond that, I didn't need other stuff and physical items that were hers, but I don't remember her by, that I could let that stuff go and really pick the way that I wanted to remember her. And so I think it's kind of taking a backwards approach and saying, okay, I want to pick up the very special pieces. I want to find a place of honor for those in my home. And then I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to let the rest go. Now, again, is it gonna make it like, oh, super easy, now I'm just gonna breeze through all this stuff? It might not, but that's why we spend more time together, right? I hope you subscribe so that we can spend some more time together, that you can watch other videos on it. It's kind of funny to me when people are like, oh, I have you on the background while I'm doing this, because I'm just like, oh, I just like to think about being in other people's homes while you're decluttering it, because I'm like, oh, I hope I say the right things. Like, what if I say something wrong? Like, right? But if that's helpful to you, I'm like, it makes me so happy. Like, that really feels special to me, and I'm so grateful for that. So I hope that we can spend more time together so we can walk through these things together, because it would be nice if it was just super cut and dry. And it was like, oh, I'll just get rid of the stuff. I'm not using it. Oh, it's gone. But unfortunately, often it's not that easy. So I want you to know that you're not alone if this stuff has felt hard. But I do hope if we can switch these questions around a little bit, ask different questions, that you might find yourself being a whole lot more successful. So I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I will definitely look forward to seeing you again soon.